Okay.
There we go. That was
Ooh,
much
that
better.
was good.
That was much better.
Yeah, that one was way better. Right on.
All right, well, hey everyone, this is Knawdy Talk. I'm Megan, along with Jake, the owner, and then also we have another featured artist for today that we are interviewing, Mr. Melin, the Mad Tailor. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, Milan, we've already come into your shop and we've done a live taping for Knawdy. We brought in two models for you and we got to see a little bit of what you do. And I mean, it's obvious with your accent that you are not originally from the States. You were from Bulgaria.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you move out here?
That was December 99, so pretty much like 2000. I got my stuff and arrived to the States. I was going to pursue my master's degrees in fashion design, so that's what brought me here.
And so let's talk a little bit about Bulgaria. And so, I mean, have you always wanted to be a tailor, or was there something that you wanted to do beforehand?
I was No, I did not know I was going to be a tailor at all. I was involved with sports. I was competing, and then at one point I got like a little injured and like got like a break from that kind of a lifestyle. And it was just about the time to graduate high school, and it was the time to think about your future in a way. As of like, and as a kid, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm from a town by the sea, so everybody there is like. Working something to do with boats and ships and stuff like that. So we have a lot of captains that live in town, and they were like living a very much like a different lifestyle than everybody else because they were like traveling outside the world and seeing things and like being paid in dollars, and the kids had the better things. So it was always like, oh yeah, I want to be a captain. So next thing you know, all you have to do is just be good at math and be good at athletics. And I placed myself in a Navy Academy in Bulgaria and got my degree in sea navigation. So I was going to be a captain.
Okay.
I was going to pursue that kind of a dream thing, and but one thing led to another. I kind of got involved a little bit with not fashion necessarily, but like making garments and producing a couple of designs here and there for myself. That led to like a little bit more involved business, kind of like loose model, I would say. And then I saw like a lot more potential in it. So my whole degree in being a Navy captain went, to the underwater. Yeah, and I was just happily. I mean, I was young and kind of pursuing whatever I was thinking is the next best thing, I guess. And it was a cool times, like skateboarding, snowboarding was kind of new to this eastern part of Europe, and we had zero access to any of the garments or like the fashion that along with it. We didn't have stores that would offer you like the latest Champion or like Santa Cruz or something or Burton or none of this. But one of those captain people started bringing magazines and like VHS tapes with the cool things on them. So we started looking at those tapes and like the magazines, and next thing you know, I was copying it practically. I just said, "Oh, that's a cool design. We have to make it." We go to the store, find the similar fabrications, and we just execute it as much as we can. And I mean, I started being really good at it. At one point, I was like, damn. So I was making pretty good income, working from home, and we went for like around 6 years. And my sister, who is also in fashion design, she was like a little bit ahead of me, but she's like really a fashion designer in a true sense of like runways and like shows and stuff like that. I was more like, let's make money making jackets.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, with all that sewing and as good as you're getting, if you come to the States, you get your degree in fashion, maybe, you can be like something else. So I kind of listened to that and pretty much packed up and went. And that's how I got here.
That's so cool. Well, and when you were in Bulgaria too, you were. So did you sew before that? Like, I don't see how you
No,
get to that position where it's like somebody wants a jacket and you're like, oh, I'll just throw that together and sew it. Like, how did you end up going from doing like being in the Navy and like trying to become a captain, and then like picking up a sewing machine?
Well, I picked up the machine like slightly before I devoted myself to the Navy for like 5 years.
Okay.
And I started like figuring out how to put it together. Like we always had sewing machines around the house for some reason, but one day my grandma showed me how to thread it and like what it does. It was like pretty simple to me. I was like, oh, really? That's it?
Yeah.
And the rest is just putting shapes together. And my father passed away when I was like really young, and we had like the entire closet of his shirts and pants and everything. So I started putting them apart, taking the shapes. Next thing you know, they kind of like looked alike. Like all the shirts, when you put them apart, they're almost similar. So, I'm very good three-dimensionally, you can probably figure out. And start seeing the shapes, and kind of taught myself pattern making a little bit.
Wow.
And we used wallpapers for everything in the house. So we had like rows of wallpapers. That was my paper that I was using to make my patterns. It was like pretty shaggy,
Yeah.
But I didn't know what a industry standard is. I never even talked to anybody else that knows how to sew legitly. That was just me. I liked what was coming out of my hands. It was looking cool. My buddies were digging it and were paying me real money for it. And that kind of validates your product. It was nothing that was available, first of all, to compare to. So it was like I was like a niche.
Nice.
For like a little bit.
And they would so for the people that don't know, they would pick out a jacket from like a magazine, right?
Yeah,
and then they just bring it to you.
Pictures, like it's like what fashion design is practically right now. Everybody brings like a little sketch and inspiration, or like a tape of the movie, and we just pop it in and pause it exactly where it is. And like there was no screenshots and shit like that. It was just like you with the pencil just take up on notes real quick. And I was just like, and you have to go and like rewind the tape. That was like annoying,
Yeah.
But that's how it was.
That's awesome.
And you would make like $50 off of each jacket that you'd make for your friends, and
I'll make $40 and $10 in material. So yeah, it was $50 set price. But that was like a pretty good money back home, and still is. If you actually do $50 a day, you're pretty okay over there, I guess. So.
Wow. And so, and you said like at the time your mom was making how much money when you were?
Yeah, my mom was making like maybe $200 a month, and I was making $200 in 3 days.
Wow.
Just sewing like crazy. But I couldn't stop because it was like orders was coming, and I had like lists of waiting things. And I was like, I should probably like get organized, but no, I'm kind of still like that. But yeah, it was busy and it was good, and people were coming in and out, and just you make relationships, and like that's what I think it's like a big part of it that made me like it a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly interacting with people that are mind like it, they think the same thing, they like the same thing, that's why they come to you in a way, and vice versa, you go back to them for something else. So we had like a little community, people that we would skate together, we would just snowboard together, we would just party together. Everything was just a group of hundreds of kids, we like had our like formations of 7 and 5 in groups, when we fight, but that was it.
Nice.
Kids.
Well, and even with relationships here, I mean, we got to know you through Kelly because you were actually a client of Kelly's for the last year.
Yep.
And before that, I mean, you've never met Kelly or Jake beforehand, and one day Kelly was like, hey, can we just come do a live taping at your place?
I mean, yeah, it's like when we moved from New York to Montana, it's like one of my first things. Like, okay, let's find 2 artists, because I'm going to be living here for a while. So I was like, like I'm going to find people that I like, So I start looking on Instagram, left and right. I first of all found Kelly's like artwork in the tape projects.
Okay.
I was like, Whitefish, Montana. I was like, that happens here? I cannot even believe it. And I was like, yes. So I start following her, and then, then like start seeing her like work. And then I talk to people around town. Like when I see people with tattoos, I was like, so tell me, And like most of the times was, her name would be dropped. I was like, I gotta approach her, so I just got my balls together and like, hey, my name is Melin, I'm in Whitefish now. And yeah, and it was all cool sailing after that. Just we met, we talked, COVID hit, so we had to stop the process a little bit, but then it was kind of, I don't know, everybody was happy to be back to normal semi, and we finished the tattoo. And during that process, I just met you guys, and it's just like been nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool because now you've been a part of Knawdy in a couple of different ways. Like, you were one of our featured artists. We're having you on the podcast with us, and you've also done things with the hats. You made us pythons.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a whole bunch of projects, and I'm sure we're going to keep using you for even more.
Those pythons must be nice because I didn't have one left.
Yeah, no, everybody snatched those up so fast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and it's cool too, like how fast you got those done. That's one thing that I'm super impressed with. Like when we took the hats to you and we're like, hey, can we do these hats? You're like, yeah, they'll be done tomorrow. And we're like, what? You
Well, so
do them that fast?
And
for the listeners.
for the listeners, I manage my time any way I want. I'm not in the busiest ever being here because first of all, I'm new in the area, so like I barely like know anybody, or like vice versa, barely anybody knows that I'm here. So I'm word of mouth kind of person. I don't advertise, I haven't been. So it's like I can move things around and do priority projects that are priority to me. It's like when you're satisfied with doing something, you can just prioritize it. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I was living somewhere, so if I didn't do it that day, you have to wait another week. So I was like, now or never.
Well, for the listeners, so pythons are thongs that Melin made with actual python, like on the outside, and the inside's like a nice felt. Is that the
Suede?
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's so soft, and they tie on the sides. And so, yes, I did steal one.
I yet to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a special shoot that just showcase the pythons. They turned out incredible, man. Like all the stuff that you do is so cool. Like watching Melin come into the shop, that was like one of the things that I noticed is just like looking at the shoes that you wear that you made, and then the pants that you wear that you made. All of his clothes are like the best clothes I've ever seen, ever. And then he handmade all of them. And so
Leather
like looking at
jackets.
that, yeah, the jackets, like everything is such a high quality. It's super. Like a lot of people when they do things, they don't do things to that level where it's that good. Like what makes you do things to that level?
Well, I've been doing it for like close to 30 years now. So, and I still try to like perfect my ways of doing it. And the way I see it, it's like, it's art that you have to keep on practicing, otherwise you're losing the skills of it, and I haven't stopped sewing for the last 30 years. I mean, like right now my arm is like operated, so I haven't been out of commission in a way for 4 weeks. So I've been going crazy, it's just all in my head, I'm not doing anything. But normally I'm just sewing and stitching by hand with the machine, so anything like every day. So I have like certain expectation of how things needs to look, or like I already have developed a sense of like how to finish a zipper in the best way for the fabric or for the leather or for what it is. So there's like very few surprises in finishing a garment. I can finish a garment drunk 2 a.m. I don't care. I can sew. This is one of the things that I can do. Like it's in my DNA by now. I don't do many things very well, but like sewing is one of the things that comes naturally to me now. And I have a very nice equipment that I have collected over the years that it's probably too much for one person, but it is what sets me maybe apart from another tailor. I can probably, I'm a more versatile. I like to work with fabric, I like to work with leather, I like to work with like just about anything. So everything requires a different gauge machine, different type of stitch on the inside, on the outside. So all that specific equipment, I have it, and I know how to use it, and I maintain it. And also fit is very important. Like a lot of people don't necessarily know how to fit a garment to a person. And even if it's sewn very well, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't look very well. But sometimes if things fit very well, even if it's sewn a little shitty, it still looks nice. It's
Okay.
like this kind of balance. So imagine when things fit well and it's sewn very nicely, then it's like you have a winner.
Yeah.
And it's like this is kind of like this magnetism to like I'm looking at it, it's like a pair of pants, but it's like I don't know what I'm looking at it, but it's nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of feeling. And I don't know. I've been lucky to be, I don't know, how do you say it? Huh. I'm a tailor practically, so I've been sewing for a living, and that's kind of I consider lucky that I make living doing that.
Nice.
That's what it is, making
Okay.
a living, you know, because I enjoy it. You know, it's not like something that I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go to work today. You know, I fucking love going to work. When I have work, I'm like the happiest. You know, especially when it's something that is like a little more creative, a little bit more challenging, something that is like not a very cookie cutting situation. I love that.
Nice. Yeah, some of the stuff that you made is incredible. Like looking at some of the what are those called? Like the vests for the girls, but then they like zip up, like the one that has all the different cuts of leather.
Yeah,
all
they're
over
like
the front of it.
patchwork and they're like corsets, kind of like
Yeah,
that.
the corsets.
Yeah, they have bones inside and just tied to the body. But yeah, that's like work in its best for me. It's like a new development for the clients that they're trying to achieve. Like sometimes just for the show, sometimes for an exhibition, sometimes it's like I don't know. It's depending what the person wants. I rarely make anything that it's not purchased or like not designed or like wanted by somebody else.
Okay.
Like I don't really, I mean I do a lot of my own personal ideas, but for myself. I don't make them for sale or anything like that.
Okay.
You know, so I usually work on people's ideas and make them come to real life.
Yeah.
And you've made, I mean, walking into your shop, you have shoes, you have jeans, jackets, and even bike seats.
You know,
And like all of the above, really, because even horse reins, I think you had in there.
yes.
I mean, what's your favorite to create?
Don't breathe heavy. Well, I told you like before, like right now I do enjoy making boots. As of because I have not made enough pairs of boots, in my opinion, to even like get close to what I think could be done with something that when you're very good at. It's imagine trying to be to know karate or something like that, like a martial arts. You're nobody in a day one, but like if you commit yourself for like a whole bunch of time and you actually get fluent in all those movements, you creating your own systems and like finishes and like way of looking at it. So the way I look at boots, I kind of come from a tailor perspective. So to me, to make the shape or the texture of the boot, it's not very traditional. I don't approach it like a bootmaker would, but the results are like a little bit different, and that's what I think my boots are a little bit like cooler to me. You know, so if anybody else likes what I kind of like, we're on the same page. And I often like talk to people and we figure out what's best for the person. You know, I can guide you through the process, through the materials, and through the promises, and like uh, I can explain to you why. You know, just like you go to physical therapy or anything like that. Like when somebody tells you why this is better, and if it's true, actually, if it makes sense for you, you go for it, and we can create art at the same time. Which is like there's so many garments, so many shoes, so many of everything that is so mass produced that I'm like up to here. Though it's making good money, but I try to balance it up. I've done it like for many years, work for corporations and stuff like that, developing hundreds and millions of fucking pieces. But it's like, so I'm trying to keep it like minimum executive art for sure. It has to, like if it has art element in it, I'm all about it.
I think that's so cool. The fact that you want to make it into art, it shows, man. Like all your stuff that you do, you look at it and it looks like a piece of, it doesn't just look like a shirt. It looks like a piece of art. And like your shoes, they look like art. I have a ton of shoes and some of them are cool, but there's not very many of them that look like art.
Art is the base on why I particularly chose to, like, you know, live that kind of lifestyle, why I'm married to my wife, like why we live the way we are. You know, it's like without art, it's a whole different story. I cannot even imagine it because I cannot even imagine it. It's impossible. It's, what the fuck you gonna do all day? You know? Like,
Without art.
Art is like not necessarily an object that you just admire. It's like a process of thinking. I think the art is like, to me, is like a process of satisfying the viewer.
Yeah.
With your performance. I don't sit in front of people and like talk or like dance. I can sew, and you're gonna see it later when it's done. And lately, actually, a lot of people being interested by the process, so I take a little, you know, process videos and stuff like that. But that's part of passing it on, educating the people. Like, it's just nothing to hide.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just make sure you do it right. It's like anything. There's nothing to hide. Like, copy me. I don't give a fuck. If you can copy me, kudos to you. You know, it's like I'll be like amazed, and I'll be like, "Fuck!" I have to like either better my game or just give you like props and move on. And it's just, you have to like know your failures sometime. You know, I'm not successful in anything that I try to achieve, even in my shop. But those failures, they teach you. You know, like, oh fuck, you know, I just spent all that time. That's what makes me really mad, when I spend a lot of time for something I just have to discard and say, fuck. You can get time back. You can buy a new product, you can buy like new materials, but your time is done and gone, you know?
Yeah. And you learn so much from any time that you actually get to make a failure. Like, so many people look at that like it's a bad thing, right?
If you can cash on your learnings, you know, because often I learn something and it's like, oh fuck, no, I paid for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And down the years, you cash it on somehow, but it's always been like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, and one thing that you pointed out when we were having the live taping is, I mean, you even just said it, is you learned by copying others' ideas as well and kind of turning them into your own at the same time. But I mean, basically learning by doing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have like personal understanding of what's good. And like everybody has it on a different level. That's why we have a different level and quality of anything. Just because whoever was behind it, or the most responsible person, that was their level of understanding. So that's what you get. And it's very important how much time you put into, I don't know, it's just learning your stuff and craft, and I lost my mind.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you're going to do something and you're going to create something, there's definitely a lot of pulling from other people's references that you have to do, right? And a lot of people look at that like, oh, you're stealing. But I think that's what art is, man. I think art is like this whole big ball, and you pull from it and you pull from it, and then you build up these moves, like in fighting. Like if you're comparing it to karate, it's like you get enough moves, and then you can finally start doing your own thing once you get enough moves under your belt. But you do have to steal other people's stuff in order to do it.
You have to. That's like and if you're an artist and you really own your shit, you probably won't give a fuck if somebody's still like, if you're a painter and somebody takes your painting and start printing it, that's bogus, you know, that's not nice. But if somebody likes the way you draw and like went and drew 40 hours their own version of your scene, even if it's like, I don't know, it's, you have to be crazy to make it so congratulations, you spent 40 hours and did another nice painting. Totally. You know, like another nice something. There's nobody is like entitled to be the best, although we all strive to be. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's more important for me to be a part of a community, because again, we're artists and you have to have an audience. Without an audience, you're not an artist. You're like a crazy person with a lot of time on your hands.
Definitely.
That creates things. Because if nobody sees it, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
So Melin, when we were over there doing the live taping at your shop, you gave us some pretty great quotes. I mean, one was, "Don't be an asshole." And one thing that made me laugh really hard when I got to your house was when I walked into the bathroom, and in your main bathroom, you have a neon sign that says, "Don't be a dick."
So pretty much a lot of restrictions, you see. Don't be that, don't be that. It's like friendly reminders. Like the first one, let's say, maybe I told you in retrospective, I don't know, making relationships and working around. Because it is not a bad thing to be an asshole in a certain industry, in a certain situations, but it takes a lot of commitment. At least for me, I've seen people like, God damn it, you exhaust so much energy just to be rude and like unpleasant and like, I mean, they do achieve certain amount of work and like move things around, but in a, I don't know, in a very brutal way. And yeah, don't be an asshole. And don't be a dick is pretty much a universal uh, language for just be a good person, you know, and or don't be like complete man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I mean, we are like three girls and two boys, so girls win in the house. So that saying is more or less for like us boys to remind that we live among the girls, and we should just obey that.
It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's cool because you definitely come across as being just like this super humble person where like the stuff that you do is so amazing. And you'd think that with that would come, and I see it all the time with people that are really, really great at something. Like the people who are really great normally also come with this humbleness that goes along with it. And then there's people that are like kind of good and they're not really on the forefront of anything where they're pushing the limits of their industry, and those are the assholes. Those are the dicks. And they like someone will come up to them and they'll ask them for help with something and they're like, fuck you, don't waste my time. But with you it's different, and with everybody that I've met that is literally pushing the forefront of the industry, most of the time they're really nice, humble people. So why do you think that is? Why do you think the majority of the people that are some of the best that actually deserve to be able to be like, oh, I'm better than everybody else, don't do that?
Well, they don't give themselves the recognition, somebody else is giving the recognition to them.
Yeah.
So they're the best to anybody else, not to themselves.
Nice.
I would think so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As of like, I, again, if the audience is fed, that means you are fed back as of like artist. So you, everybody could say you're the best, but you know the mess in your head it is. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, I know.
I got a long way to go.
I'm the best, but if you don't come and order something soon, I'll be fucking like hungry and angry artist, you know? So it's like, it's part of being, there's no like such a thing as like you have to struggle to be an artist, you know? There's like certain elements of you can feed your art with depending what it is. You know, if you like anger, go get angry. If you like, you know, shitty life, go live in the woods somewhere. Don't do anything for a moment and get that shitty point. Do the art that you're looking for, or you can be a happy person, have like a normal existence. It's like I'm not doing like anything exceptional. I make clothes and shoes and boots and like seats or whatever the fuck you want, you know, in material, in leather. But I'm not making anything exceptional that it's going to change your life. You know, my art or like my objects are not like, they're just for enjoyment, for like purpose, for people who understand and value the pretty objects, and also for people who actually value themselves as a person who is actually worth of having a better piece of clothing, a chicer looking bag, or something that distinguish them as of like, you know, I have the time, the money, and the need to wear something that not gonna hurt my feet, my shoulders, or like anything else that you put in your body. It affects your posture, everything. So people like me that spend their lifetime of studying how everything moves, how the sleeves are attached, I probably gonna give you a better result than somebody that's just starting. I'm not saying that they're not going to be good.
Yeah.
They're like people that are also like probably 40 years into the business, but they're like know nothing.
Yeah.
I had like a little struggle at. I was very good student compared to my classmates because I had like experience. I've been sewing, and then I had like a very good instructor, like who kind of saw that I had the fire, so he kind of pushed me. Like it took like a second, and I was like sewing circles around the seniors, my very first semesters of the university, and so next thing you know, I graduated, and a couple of years later, I was asked if I want to be an instructor back in the university, and I knew the program inside and out because I graduated there, and I went there and started being a fresh instructor. And like in a couple of years, I'm like, I'm the best fucking instructor here. I can see it. Like nobody could pattern
Yeah.
or like so creatively like that. So I was like, hmm, you know. But there were like people with seniority there for years, for 10, 15 years, and you cannot overstep their like, positions. So to me, it was like, oh my God, now what? So it was a time of adjustment, but then we found a solution. Other people joined the team, was creative again, and it was nice times. And then I moved to New York to just be it, keep on doing whatever I was preaching.
Yeah.
And talking about giving back to the people, it's like in New York, I was start having like apprentices, interns, and stuff like that, and you know, you get as much as you can get from somebody just by observing and being time. You can go to school, you can watch 10 videos, but if you can try it, and if you have somebody to actually to show you physically right in front of you, that's like invaluable. So I encourage people to find that person that's gonna like show them how the thing that they want to do it's done.
Yeah.
And they just go ahead and perfect it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Well, and that kind of like leads right into the one question that I had for you, where it's like, if you could go back and give yourself some advice in the beginning of doing everything and pursuing your passion and going after being a tailor, what advice would you give yourself in the very beginning of it, knowing what you know now 30 years later?
Oof. I have no idea what advice would I give myself. Uh, I mean, I studied to be a designer. I was going to be a designer, but being able to sew and pattern, that's kind of like a secondary field in the fashion industry. The design, and there's like the tailors and the pattern makers.
Okay.
But it happened that you're actually getting paid more doing that versus being a designer, because it's a lot technical and it's a lot of physical work. At least in the beginning, you're getting paid more, not towards the end.
Yeah.
So I was like, why would I just go try to be a designer and get like peanuts when I can go and like get a real sandwich? So I started doing that more or less. So I don't know, maybe stick to your guns if you have a feeling, because I don't know how I would have transferred if I was just to become a designer. But I'm kind of happy that I didn't, because to me it's all about doing it with your hands, and like the process has to go through my eyes and through my hands in order to see it. I can talk to it, but I can explain to you, like I show you real quick instead of just talk to you.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's like, I don't know, there's like something that I do, and I don't even know I'm doing it, but if you observe me carefully, you see how I move my hands, how I hold the fabric. All this affects the outcome of whatever it is. I'm sure it's the same for you, like depending how you hold your machine, and like you figure out what's the best way to put that ink exactly the shade you want it.
Yeah.
And it's like to me, like to be able to connect your brain with your hand the way you are doing it, this to me is fucked up. It's like it's like people that know how to play instrument and draw like this, to me it's like, what the fuck. It's beyond.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like the same sort of thing though, where in the beginning of doing it, it doesn't work out like that, and you have this thing in your head that you want to create, and then you
But
try and do it with your hands, and it doesn't happen.
yeah,
And a lot of people look at it and they're like, "I'm not talented, and so I can't do this." But the talent comes over time. The
you
talent
have to.
comes from doing it and doing it and doing it. And I don't think you ever end up achieving what you want to achieve. There's always a little bit more every time. Like every time I get done with a piece, no matter how good it is, I always look at it and I'm like, okay, so that part was good, but this little area right here could be a little bit better. So next time I'm going to do this. And eventually you surpass what you originally wanted to create when you were like first starting out. You can do those things and more. But then by the time you get there, there's always a little bit more that you can do.
Yeah, the complexity of uh, things that you can execute by doing it for so long is like a lot more. Like when you start, everything's kind of simple, kind of few details, and after few years of experience, you're going nuts. You know, I can go inside constructions, folding, blah blah blah, making all kind of seams, and I'm not saying it's easier work, but it's to me it's easier to do it, and I do it faster than anybody else that would have to attempt to do that. You know, just because to them will be like a whole lot more sewing and like cutting. And to me, it's like it's a lot of sewing cutting, but I'm very fast and dun, dun, you know, dun dun dun. So the same thing with you, you know. It's like, oh, finally I can roll like this.
Yeah. It finally looks the way I want it to.
Yeah, finally that's what it does.
Yeah, but it just takes time. Like that's what it takes. Like
Yeah,
to be able to do anything and to do art with anything, it just takes time. It takes time to get there, and you got to be patient, and you
and
got
it's
to be willing to put in the work.
always new. And like just like you don't do two of the same tattoos.
Yeah.
You have to be crazy couple to just make them exactly the same, you know. I done maybe four of the same pieces, like, but that was for movies that we need like multiple for changes. But that's
Okay.
the only time I've done like multiples. I do everything one time, so every time I approach something, I have to done start from scratch.
Hmm.
So a lot of better business models are based on producing three things that they have the patterns for it and they keep on reproducing them and like reintroducing them the same exact thing over and over. That's a better business model, and I know that, but there's no creativity in it. So here comes the controversy of creativity and like better business. But luckily there's enough people that are interested in that kind of art still. uh, you know, we can make living.
Yeah. Well, and I think if it's good enough, even people who weren't interested in it before become interested in it because of how good you are. And I
Hmm.
think that's like a real artist inspires people to like want to get into something that they weren't into before. Like a good tattoo artist, I feel like is somebody that makes people who didn't even want to get tattooed suddenly want to get tattooed
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
like
so good. Your shoes and your pants and stuff, like I want custom shoes and custom pants now, and I never really wanted that stuff before.
Hmm.
But then I see your stuff, and your stuff is so good that like suddenly now I'm one of those people where I want a custom
oh,
jacket
thanks.
and I want custom shoes and pants. Like it just looks so good, and you do such a good job with it.
Luckily for you, I know a guy.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
man.
even still at our shop too, like we're all still talking about having a moccasin night and creating our own moccasins.
We're
and-
making that happen, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Soon
I'm
this
super
arm
excited.
start moving, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, how many more weeks you got before your arm's going to be back in commission?
Probably another 2-3 weeks before I can.
Oh, that's not long, man.
Yeah.
Be here
It's
before
going to
you
be
know it.
happening soon. Yeah.
Well,
This-
I
what's
was
that?
going to say, I know it's going to be brought up because we have the Mad Tailor here, but we have some leggings. That
Oh,
we wanna
yeah.
show off.
Totally. Yeah.
So,
So,
I guess I'll go-
speaking of fit, we have Megan wearing our new leggings that we have going out. She was wearing the black ones yesterday. And so these are the gray ones with the special booty shaping capabilities. And so, yeah, they fit really nice. So, what do you think of them, Megan? You've like,
I like them. I like them. Closer to the mic again.
yeah.
Yeah, I like these because they hold everything so nice. And I mean, and I'll say like I'm proud of my butt and how hard I've worked for it in the last couple years. But these leggings, like, thank you. These leggings, like, just bring it all together.
That's
So,
so
It's like a
awesome.
bouquet of flowers, nicely arranged in a
in my
amazing
yeah.
vase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to see.
All about the peach back here. Yeah, and they're comfortable, and I mean, I've done squats in them and whatnot, and it's like it all just stays in place, which is awesome. So
Yeah, I really like the gray ones. Like the way they fit are incredible. And then Megan goes into the same gym that I go into in the morning. And so I've gotten to see her like on the treadmill in other leggings, and then seeing her in our leggings, they're like so much better. It's crazy. And so, yeah, I'm super excited about these ones. And I'm also super like cuz we're going to be doing a bunch of custom drawings, and so like that's how we're going to be switching them up is we're going to be doing like different drawings, and so then we'll have different patterns that get printed on them and stuff like that. But we're definitely going to have to see if you can do like something to make a couple custom pairs of leggings where it's like with the hats where we end up like taking them apart and putting like some custom leather strips or something in like some of the black ones or some of the gray ones. I'd be interested to see what you can do with it.
We shall see.
Yeah. Or if you can make it even better, if you can make the booty look even better somehow, that's
So about that booty, huh?
it's all about that booty.
Nobody's like, I work my calves too, you know.
I do some calf workouts, but no.
Yeah,
Nobody's squeezing my calves that hard.
No.
but yeah, we'll have to see if you can do something like that. And then we got the and so these ones are going to go on sale when we do the Paradise Challenge in Puerto Vallarta. So we're sponsoring a big event down there, and there's a whole bunch of models that are going to be coming, and they're all wearing our leggings and our stuff down there, and that's when they actually get released. And
Nice.
if we have any left, because we keep selling them all to everybody that puts them on, like, it's just like these are the greatest things ever. And so yeah, and then you coming in feeling like I want a pair for my wife.
Yeah, I got a pair for my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about those.
She has very nice calves.
Very nice calves.
Yeah.
Nice. We
They
got to
filtered
figure out
down there
something.
too. They have some design work down on the calves, so
Nice. That accentuates them. So, as far as all the questions and stuff go, I feel like we had a pretty good rundown of all the stuff that we wanted to go over with you. Do you have anything else that you want to say to like people out there, or any new projects that are coming up that you want to talk about for your business?
For my business, we just kind of like setting it up in a way as of new in the valley, and we've been considering maybe having a storefront or maybe not. We're still kind of debating it, but as long as we get some orders running in and like things rolling by, I think it'll be okay. For the people that don't know us, just me and my wife are doing all the work, and
Okay.
we're doing it in my shop right now. So eventually we want to have like a bigger shop and expand, and eventually kind of make it a community thing that we can get people that want to know more about this, so I can actually train them under my supervision, give them something to do, and we can have like something local here that we can actually produce better things right here for something that is like our own ideas, something like the way you do it with your leggings and stuff, things that we can sell versus like only made to order. So
Okay.
we have to do a little bit of switch just because it's not New York, it's not like the fashion industry here, and we have to make more like a product that is oriented to the people that are around. I would still forever do custom orders. I cannot imagine myself not to do something special all the time.
Yeah.
But like there needs to be like a whole branch that in the next year we shall have something running here.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you and they want to get a pair of pants, or they want to get a jacket or something like that, you're open to that, right? And how
Absolutely.
do they do it?
If somebody is local, you just come to my shop, give me a call, 212-933-9124. That's
Nice.
it. Give me a call, or like if you're not around, we can FaceTime, and we can do some measurement, and anything else that is kind of necessary. It's kind of okay being remote. I've been working with people from New York during the fashion week. We did everything remotely, and it's fine. I don't necessarily have to see you in order to make you something that's going to fit you. Okay.
That's really good to know. Just the fact that just because somebody's not here in the valley and then they don't have the opportunity to go in and see you in person,
Yeah.
you're so good at what you do.
I
that
mean,
you
if you
can
want
still make
something
them an
like a
awesome
skin
piece.
tight, probably is the best way to, like, I have your body so I can like really like get all the curves correctly. But if it's like a jacket or like pair of jeans, like even a pair of shoes, I can make it like without meeting you.
Yeah. Well, like the jacket that you made for Megan Fox, that one was like you just had to have her measurements, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
then you made it for her.
most of those things are done like that.
Yeah.
You're rarely gonna see the artist or like the actor. You just work by measurements and quick, and that's that.
Yeah. So the other cool thing that I don't think we even told you about yet, but we're working on that drawing for you. And so once we get done with your drawing, it kind of accompanies everything. So there's the live taping that we did with you that has the interview, and then there's this interview, and then there's the drawing that we're going to do for you. And then once we're done with the drawing, then that's going to go on some shirts and some tank tops and stuff like that. And then those are going to be available for sale
Sounds
on
so
our
rich.
website.
We're doing
Yeah.
drawing for you. I'm like, for me?
Oh.
I was
Totally.
like, so flattered. I'm
It's
like,
gonna be
whoa.
cool. It's just because it's gonna have it's made to kind of like represent the stuff that you do, and so it's themed off of that, kind of like
Yeah,
us doing a tattoo
Can't
drawing
wait to see what it is
for a person.
Yeah,
And then but then a certain portion of the sales are going to go to you too, to help
Oh.
out with like you're doing your stuff and your adventures. And so if you want to support Melin, you can also get one of the shirts that we're going to have
Yeah,
that are
guys.
going to be up for sale here soon.
Yeah, well, thank you, Melin. And that was Knawdy Talk.
Yeah. Good job. Thanks for coming on, man. Good to see you.
My pleasure.
Right on. That was awesome.
Oh, that was great.